Rebellions are built on hope.
And welcome to another episode of Radio Rebellion, a Star Wars podcast. I'm your host, Alberto Calderon, and I am here, as always, joined by co-host Oti1 Kenobi on this Star Wars Saturday. Oti, how are you doing today?
I am doing good. Awesome Saturday. Yeah.
Awesome Saturday. We're here, different time, same channel. A little confusion at what time we were starting, but we're here. Just for today, we have our special guest will be joining us in a few minutes. Wookieepedia will be here. I'm scared.
The actual website is going to be here.
The whole website. That's why it's taking a little bit long for their connection to sink in. I'm afraid because, I mess up a lot of things here. They're just going to call me out everything I'll say, but it doesn't matter. Had a good day, Oti? Good week?
Not a good week. It's, again, work has been hell. We had a family day, my grandma's birthday, so we all went out to eat, and it's been a fun day.
Yeah, for me it's been a great week because this guy came in, the Mayordomo. Finally, I've been waiting about 2 months for him to get here. I gotta unbox him soon, find a good spot for him. He has to be highlighted. He'll be back there.
You gotta put like a light under him.
Yeah, I'll take this light out, put a new one, just kind of highlight it. It'll be there someday. I got a couple more Funko Pops, so they'll be there at some point soon. But as always, if you're here for the first time, thanks for joining us. Make sure that you're subscribed to our channel. Give us a thumbs up and leave us a comment down below if you're watching this later during the recap or any point that you want to check out something we say, want to double check it. And if you're listening to this on the audio podcast when it comes out later next week, make sure to give us also a rating and review. And as always, if you're here, not as your first time, well, thank you. Why you have scissors?
Okay? It was literally there. I have no idea why.
Yeah, we don't need no scissors, man. All right, so we have a lot to talk about today, Oti. We got a couple of news items that drop. We won't go too deep into them because we do have the Mandalorian and the Bad Batch to talk about. But before we start, I saw that our friend Brennan is here. Thanks for joining us, Brennan. And we'll keep going down as you guys show up. All right, so if you guys are ready, I'm not ready. Let's talk Star Wars and Star Wars news. Star Wars news that we're going to talk about today is Star Wars Celebration. Oti, finally, they gave us the schedule, the panels. People were freaking out. What's going to happen each day? There's going to be no live stream. It's here. We have... All right, so no, you were ready. You wanted to talk about all the live stream issues. People are saying, see, I told you it's going to happen. Other people are saying, no, that's just for the live show. So your thoughts on this?
I mean, I saw someone be like, there's no confirmation they're streaming any panels. I'm like, they always stream the panels. Why wouldn't they do it this time around? And, I know, what would be ideal, Alberto? Like, we get like a streaming app. And you can tune into any panel you want. I would love that more than anything. And hey, if a panel's a little bit boring, you change the channel. You get another panel. That's not how it's going to work. We know how it works. The big panels are usually sometimes streamed. Sometimes, we have like this big panel and we're like, oh, excited. No, we're going to do the stories of Yoda here. And we're like, oh, okay, sure. Yeah. But mostly we do get the big panels, only that they cut them at the part when, hey, we're going to show a trailer that no one else is going to see. And you know what? I'm perfectly fine with that because it would be awesome. We do our podcast, we do our things. Sure. Yes, we would like to see them live with everyone. But, they are there. We're not. And they have to get some reward other than, seeing these people live. So I'm fine with that. But this... I don't know. I feel like people constantly want to freak out over anything. They were freaking out over no live stream. Hey, guys, there is going to be a live stream. Oh, then we're going to freak out about which panels are they going to show or not show. Like, I mean, I don't know. I'm very excited for it. I tweeted about it. I'm very excited. And no amount of people whining and complaining. I see you, Roberto, is gonna make me unhappy.
Yeah, if he shows up later in the stream, we'll call him out. Yeah. I've been on both sides, right? Last time or last year. I might have been a little bit grumpy about it, but we got a lot of stuff. I know we didn't get the trailers, but that's kind of the on par for the course for what Lucasfilm does. Do you remember, even though we covered this like for 4 straight days, that main panel, the Star Wars or Lucasfilm showcase panel, they streamed that.
We didn't get.
We didn't get that.
No.
Okay.
The stream began right after that one ended.
Okay, with the live show, that live stage that they have, and then they brought all the guests. They talked about Willow. They showed the Willow trailer and a lot of stuff there.
Oh, I remember they kept on streaming the Willow trailer.
Yeah.
By the way, don't sleep on the live show. It's awesome, and they bring you. Actually, when a big panel isn't streamed, usually those people come right into the live stage and talk about what they just talked about. So a lot of fun news is dropped in the live stage. The trailer for Survivor was dropped in the live stage. So I don't know, just be optimistic.
Yeah, I think not the problem with the live stage. It's like a 6-hour show. So you gotta constantly be kind of checking. Depends what you're doing that day. If you're home and that's all the thing you're doing, like you said, just turn on YouTube and forget about it. But if you're at work and gotta kind of refresh, it kind of, like you said, we should know by now what we're getting. Being in Europe is why a lot of people thought that maybe for everyone that couldn't go. But I think it was the same time back in, 2016, when the Rogue One was over there. It was kind of the same. I don't remember any huge panels being streamed.
And I want to mention something. And, here's a Latino about to call out Americans. The U.S. is not the only country like Star Wars.
Oh my God, what are you saying?
And don't get me wrong, Star Wars is a very, very, very American franchise.
Yes.
But, people in Spain like Star Wars. I was actually in Spain the year they did the Triple Force Friday when they released the figures for Rise of Skywalker, Mandalorian, and Fallen Order. The lines in the stores were... I wanted to go and pick some things up, and I was like, nope, I'm not going to do that. So other people in other countries like Star Wars. So just because the time difference here doesn't mean there's a time difference elsewhere. So just keep that in mind, guys. And when they stream it here, it's, very late for them over in Europe, Asia, and everything. So
what time is it going to be here? It's like at 7 in the morning or something. It's going to start here, US time, I guess, or Eastern.
Yeah, I think by that time daylight savings is over, so I think it's 5
tonight.
Hours.
Yeah, it's tonight.
Wait, it's tonight?
Yeah, tomorrow I wake up and I have lost an hour, which I'm not looking forward to because I had a very long night yesterday or long day yesterday.
I don't understand why you guys do that.
The only thing, one of those freaking Republican senators did put out a bill or whatever you want to call it, trying to end daylight savings, and it's gone kind of halfway. They haven't actually voted on it. I gotta say, I'm on board.
For what I understand, the bill passed. They just don't know when to implement it.
So I thought this was gonna be the last one that we skip forward
they're not
today.
Sure. They're not sure.
How difficult. Nobody likes this.
Even when they come together to do something, they can't do it.
This is like if the emperor was there saying, we're gonna do this, and Mon Mothma is like, yes, let's do it.
Oh, we don't know how to do it.
I don't know. We gotta press that button. All right. So we're both, I think, on agreement that a lot of panels will be streamed. Maybe not the biggest one. We won't get those big reveal trailers. We'll get those potato cameras, as we like to joke. We'll be here on Friday, that first Friday, doing a special show. But we'll get a lot of information. A lot of great panels are going to be streamed. And I'm just going to do a quick rundown of some of the panels. And Ote, just tell me which one you're most looking forward to. Of course, the Lucasfilm Studio Showcase, Making of Andor Season 1, an Ahsoka panel, Star Wars The High Republic, Vision Season 2, the Bad Batch has a panel, maybe it gets renewed for the 3rd season. 40 Years of Return of the Jedi, Creature Cantina, talking about all the creatures. Neil Scanlon's going to be there. 15-year anniversary of the Clone Wars, Villains of the Sequel Trilogy, and a look back at the Obi-Wan Kenobi show.
Oh.
Is Kenobi going to get renewed for 2 seasons? Are we getting the Bad Batch for Season 3? There's other reports that they said the first season of Book of Boba Fett this happens. So maybe season 2 is coming. What are you looking forward? Big announcement or big panel that you're looking forward to?
I mean, all those panels that you mentioned, if they're being streamed, I will be like right there, paying attention, not on my phone, seeing what people are reacting to.
Sure.
I'm looking for, of course, the showcase, even if they don't stream it, like the news coming out and seeing the excitement always, it's energetic. Of course, the Obi-Wan Kenobi panel. I'll say I'm gonna dip my toes. I think they're gonna announce season 2, honestly.
I'm not in favor of it. That sounds harsh. I'm not in favor of it. I'm gonna keep it, but it wouldn't surprise me. McGregor has talked about it, how much he wants to come back. Other people have mentioned it, so it wouldn't surprise me if they do announce it.
Liam Neeson said he wouldn't be back, so he's coming
back. So he's definitely back. He's like in multiple episodes.
Alberto, I'm at a point, even if they like, hey, we're getting an epic battle between Obi-Wan and Vader, I'll be like, cool.
And this one, you'll learn why he didn't kill him. Right now we're at a point. It's coming back on Twitter. People complaining again about Kenobi. I don't know why he didn't kill Vader at that point. Because there's a movie coming out in a few years. A New Hope.
There's a movie, an old movie you might have seen.
Yeah. So of course, the Lucasfilm Studio Showcase.
The High Republic panel. I'm sure they'll probably announce the phase wave of Phase 3.
So it's a lot of Phase 3 because at this point, Phase 2 is going to be over. Or maybe we're still waiting for Path. Anyway, we have someone joining us. Our special guest is here straight from Wookieepedia, who is the Supreme Emperor. How are you?
Hello, everybody. Thank you for having us on. It's a pleasure to be here. And thank you for waiting for me to finish out my very long day.
We waited as long as we could. But no, again, thanks for joining us today. We're just talking a little bit about Star Wars Celebration, the panels that were announced a few days ago, and also, is it going to be streamed? A lot of people had been complaining online that some of the panels might not get streamed for the people out here in the States that might not have a chance to go to Star Wars Celebration. As you join that conversation, what are some of the panels you're looking forward to?
So I'm looking forward to pretty much anything to do with upcoming materials. So the panel about Ahsoka, the High Republic panel, just because the authors are just so amazing and wonderful.
Yeah.
The Young Jedi Adventures screening, I've got my eye on that, but I'm going to presume that's probably not going to be streamed, but I can dream.
Yeah.
I'll be bugging anyone who happens to be there.
Yeah, we know a lot of people are going to be live tweeting everything that happens, so we'll get those news coming. Are you or anyone from over there at Wookieepedia going to Star Wars Celebration this year?
Not formally. I know there's a few. I know there's a handful of. I think one other admin and a couple of users that are going on their own. But we're not doing anything formal for it, other than I'm booking the day off to join in the live tweeting and to kind of play off the hype. But yeah, we'll have a couple of people that are just kind of floating around, seeing what's what.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. It's not a cheap trip to go all the way to Europe for a few days, pay hotel. Yeah, it's a lot. I might have to go down south in Florida in a couple of weeks and just looking at hotel prices. It's I only need one night. I don't want to spend $300 for just a bed because I have to go to a wedding. It's come on, it's not that easy.
Yeah, I was saying when I did New York for New York Comic Con last year, and it was that was a hefty price once I did the conversion rate.
London is not cheap, so
yeah, nothing unfortunately is cheap right now. So yeah, for myself, again, the Lucasfilm Studio Showcase, of course, is going to be on top of the bill for anyone. So I'm excited about Ahsoka because I've been up and down about Ahsoka, the character. I like her, but it's not one of my favorite ones. Well, it's not a surprise, you know it. But I'm excited for this show because I like all the other characters. I do like Ahsoka, but it's not my favorite. But I'm excited for that to see what news comes out. Probably a trailer, and maybe we'll get it a couple of days later. Visions. I want to see all the different studios, how they're working with Vision Season 2, since we know that they're going to different countries and different cultures. I want to see how they do that. So a lot of fun stuff this year at Celebration.
I would like to mention that please, people, don't be surprised if the Lucasfilm panel is Indiana Jones heavy, because that movie's coming out like 2 months after Celebration, so they'll be like very big on the promotion at that point. So I think people should like brace for that. Of course, we're gonna get Star Wars things, but I think it'll be Indiana Jones heavy.
Yeah, same as this past. Go ahead.
I think as long as a lot of it is streamed, I'll just be happy. I can live with whatever they throw at us.
Yeah, and I think that's a mentality to have. It's like, we can't make it. This is a special show, but if they're gonna spend like 5 hours streaming the live stage that we talked about, some of the quote unquote smaller panels, we shouldn't really be complaining. We're getting a lot of stuff for just sitting back.
And again, I've mentioned it a billion times. Some of those little moments in the stream are awesome. Like, they take you to random people. Like, yes, I've been building models for 25 years in Celebration. You're like, whoa, this is cool.
Yeah.
So
I think one of my favorite ones from the last one was how they had like, it was, I can't remember if it was Celebration or D23, but they had like a live tweet feed going up.
Oh, it was a Celebration.
Was it so? Yeah. And as I'm watching that, I see like a couple of the people that we've kind of bantered with on Twitter before, and I'm just watching them absolutely lose their minds on Twitter. Like, that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm just going to be I'm just going to be thriving off the excitement of everyone else and trying to amplify that excitement as much as I can.
That's what I'm trying to transmit. So thank you.
Yeah, I know. I guess I gotta be careful what I'm saying. The chat is not too happy with me today. Brandon is telling me to be careful from something I said before. And of course, when I said something about Ahsoka, Buck appeared out of nowhere and told me to me and my bad taste, Ahsoka being his favorite characters.
I'm not getting new comments.
Dude.
Okay, no, I have.
Now you got it?
Okay, yeah.
You lost your privileges by thinking this was still at 5 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
All right, so again, very excited. It's less than a month away, which is the surprising thing. So we'll see. All right, so our second news story for today, I don't even call this news because to me it's not surprising, but everyone just spent days talking about it. And it was from Variety saying that in September of 2022, Disney pulled Rogue One from its schedule, and sources with knowledge about the production said it's no longer in active development at the studio. And then Variety also goes on to say that they learned that a possible Star Wars feature produced by Kevin Feige is also no longer in active development at Lucasfilm. And people went online to say, again, fire Kathy Kennedy. They don't know what they're doing. More movies get canceled. And like, we knew about Rogue One since last year. Kevin Feige's movie was never officially announced, even though Michael Waldron was talking, I'm writing a movie. Well, he's got like 4 different movies at Marvel right now. So to me, it's not surprising. Oti, what are your thoughts on it? By your face, I think I can tell.
I'm in my I don't care pose. So let me move to my pundit pose. Okay, so the Patty Jenkins thing, it's been hot and cold. Like, it's happening, it's not happening, it's happening, it's not happening. So I think it's par for the course for that one. The Kevin Feige one, I don't care. Like, I think that was like one of the Disney executives. Was it Alan Horn or something like? Yeah, it'd be cool to get them to join and do something. And people went like, "Oh, Marvel Star Wars movie coming." It's like, I don't know. So I'm very cool about that. I don't care. I really don't care. And it's also so par for the course. The whole because Bob Iger came out and was like, I've been making these decisions because we have to be more strategic with Star Wars. So he clearly made those decisions, and people are like, as always, it's Kathleen Kennedy. It's like, come on. So
and they've been saying for at least since Celebration, I think last year, they've been saying, and we mentioned last week, this is a 5-year commitment. We're gonna be very strategic about what's going to get greenlit. So it's not surprising that they might be scaling back. And I do understand why some people might say, well, this is the 10th movie they've canceled. Actually, they really haven't, apart from Rogue Squadron, nothing else has been announced that has been officially canceled. So
in the way I see it, like, we're getting a lot of good content. We're getting, half a dozen new shows this year. And ultimately, not every project is going to make it all the way through. And just because it's not in active development doesn't mean that we're never going to see it. I'm still manifesting a full 5-season Rogue Squadron TV show. I'm still manifesting that idea. So if anyone from Lucasfilm wants an idea, please hit me up.
And to that point, there's a ton of movies, like for example, Top Gun Maverick. That was in development hell for years and years and years. And your Jurassic World, I mean, at that point it was Jurassic Park 4. That was in development for years and years and years. So the Rian Johnson movie, it's been in development for years and years and years. So
if they're gonna, if it's something that has to take time, you know what? I'd rather they take the time and get it right.
Precisely.
Yeah.
I'd be more worried. I'm sorry if they fired if they fired Patty Jenkins to bring someone and rush that movie. I'd be more worried of that than development. Yeah.
Plus, every product that they delay is something else that we don't have to worry about documenting quite yet.
And I'm coming to that in a few minutes, but it's like the Flash, right? We talked all the issues with the Flash and its star. Let's not cover that. But the Flash has gone like through 7 different directors, right? And it took all this time to now, and supposedly it's going to be a great film.
Oh, they nailed it, apparently.
Yeah, actor issues aside, talking about the film, supposedly it's going to be great. Just take your time. Like you said, don't rush it. Don't just change a director or something just to make a date. I don't know why they have to announce dates. It's one thing. I used to be here and say, why doesn't Star Wars give us a slate like the MCU does? And that way we know. But now we know the MCU for the next 5 years. I'm like, I don't need to know all these movies in 2027 because now I know everyone's going to survive. This is going to happen. These are the new people coming out. It used to be surprising when we got the post-credit scenes and a new character shows up. Now we know all the movies for 10 years. I don't want that with Star Wars. So just take your time.
And honestly, I would honestly kind of prefer if they did it like yearly, like say at the end of each year at say Celebration or something. Show what's coming up for the next year.
Yeah,
you got something to kind of build some hype on, and then you just go off of that.
Yeah,
they've somehow managed, even with Disney, that we know they're gonna make more movies. They've somehow managed to recapture those periods in between the trilogies where we were like, "Oh, when are we getting something else? Are we getting something else?"
See, and the cool thing is that we've gotten to the point now where the people who are making Star Wars now are the people that grew up with it, the people that grew up having visions of using a lightsaber, flying a starship. It's those same people that are now capturing that kind of imaginative feeling that they had as a kid and channeling it into a project for the next generation. So whatever they come out with, it's going to be good.
Yeah, there was something I was actually thinking about the other day with other stuff, and then with Star Wars. That same thing. Everyone's, especially with the High Republic creators, they're so on Twitter. And everything they say, you can say it's a love they have from Star Wars, from growing up, and now they're bringing all those ideas to the forefront. It's like, these are like us. They grew up with Star Wars, and now they're able to create that and just push that forward. Same with the movies, TV shows.
So they actually they just announced that we're officially getting a Return of the Jedi fact book. And just seeing everyone, all the new authors that are involved with that popping up on Twitter, I can finally say that I'm doing a Star Wars. It's just that excitement is just contagious.
And now we're seeing people in our timelines who we've interacted like, "Hey, surprise! I'm writing a Star Wars." And we're like, "What?"
Yeah. I've seen a few of them are people that I've chatted with on Twitter, just kind of the odd time, and they're like, "I'm doing a Star Wars," and I'm like. I'm really happy for you.
Yeah.
So now that you mention it, I got a surprise. Yeah, there'll be that day. I don't know. I think I wouldn't be able to do it. I'll be too in my head I'm gonna mess it up, and I can't.
Oh, I'd make the most fan service to me thing possible.
I know. Ben Quadrinaros will be the star of the Bunta Eve.
Ben Quadrinaros and Obi-Wan Kenobi go on an adventure to kill the Knights of Ren. That's my.
I can get behind this.
The two Bens.
The entire premise of my series is going to be predicated on the line: the Jedi Archives, also known as Wookieepedia.
It's ready. We
and
got
it's at that point that they will pull the plug on the entire project.
Say thank you. 45 years was enough of Star Wars. So, all right, we gotta keep going. So let's jump to our. What's on the?
Bug says his dream would be to write from a certain point of view for the prequels. I'm dying for them to do that. I'm just so ready for that. And Buck, I hope they call you and you get to write your book. He supports my Too Ben Too Furious story.
I'm going to give a shout out to Buck also, because Buck is someone that I have seen just consistently being positive on social media. So, Buck, you're awesome. Thank you for bringing that positive energy.
Yeah. He's a big fan of Solo, like we are here. So
he gets grumpy at times, though, and I
he
don't
does. He does. Usually with Oti. And if you badmouth Ahsoka, he gets grumpy. Yeah. All right, so we got to move on to Star Wars on TV. Star Wars on TV. A lot of Star Wars on TV to talk about today, of course, with The Mandalorian and The Bad Batch. But before we get to it, Wookieepedia administrator here, we gotta ask, and I'm sure you get asked plenty of times, when shows like this, when you have two Star Wars TV shows going on at the same time, and every episode it's something new, like Gorian Shard, the Pirate King, got announced last week, and we all went nuts with him here, and then new clones and new Imperials in the Bad Batch week after week. Is this like Christmas for you guys, or you're in hell trying to just keep up to date with everything?
We kind of draw that fine balance between just sheer raw fan excitement and crying. No, in all honesty, because Wookieepedia is entirely volunteer-based, people tend to just work on the projects that interest them. For some people, that's documenting new things that come out. For others, it's deep diving into old novels or Legends materials. So for the most part, it's the speed that you think is going up is entirely based on just people's passion. It's just someone watched a show and decided, you know what, I really like this. I want to document it.
Cool. Is there anything that people have fight over? Something big, or maybe not even big, but for characters that they really enjoy and they're like, oh, I gotta write this, and then there's either no, I want to do it, it's my turn, or I really don't want to have to write about Salacious B. Crumb.
Surprisingly, no. Generally, it's fairly civil. And in instances where, say, two people do want to work on something together, typically it'll just end up being like a little joint group project.
Okay.
Oh, just like school.
Everyone pair up with a buddy.
I do want to mention, I don't know, who works on this, but for Convergence, Alberto, I went back to Wookieepedia and went through the Convergence summary. It was so detailed. At times I was like, maybe I should just like open the book, because this is like, I wish they made summaries like this for high school novels you have to read, because wow, because I took a long time to read that book, so I had to go back to the first chapters, and I was so pleasantly surprised with this.
I'm gonna just pull it up. I'm gonna see who did that one.
They're gonna give him credit. As he does this, I had something similar. I don't remember when or why, but reading about General Grievous, I went back for something, and I just read the whole history before we meet him, all his time before he's a cyborg and all this. And where is all this story coming from first? And then, the people working on this have so great detail to every little thing that they add. It's gonna be scary also not to mess something up. When also that Star Wars authors are going to Wookieepedia to double check how you spell a name of a certain creature. Has this been talked about before? So that's gonna be scary also on your end.
It is. And in terms of shout out to Panther 436 for doing the plot summary for Conversions.
Oh, there you go.
Great plot summary. So I just want to mention, like, the first time I discovered Wookieepedia, there wasn't a lot of the new canon things going on. I spent like 4 hours going like down rabbit holes. Like, this is.
You can get lost there for a long time, and that's one of the great things. There are very few websites that you can say you can go through the rabbit hole, and it's a positive thing. And Wookieepedia is one of those. All right, so a lot of stuff to add to lore and to canon with The Mandalorian Season 3, Episode 2, Mines of Mandalore. Oti, I'm just going to start straight up. Are you surprised that we're already here? Din Djarin made it to the mines. Yeah, he kind of did the bath, even though he kind of missed that last step and went all the way to the bottom.
I was, when we got the whole them going to Peli, I was like, oh, here we go, the side mission. And then the title pops up, and I'm like, oh, okay, we're going there.
Yeah.
And then as the episode was playing out, I was just waiting for the moment to be like, well, we gotta go do this other thing and then come back. And it didn't happen.
You're just waiting for the inevitable. Oh, we got a distress call. We got to divert.
Yeah.
What about you? Were you surprised that we're already there? We went to Mandalore, and something that I thought was gonna take most of the season. We're there. It's maybe next week he just goes back to the armor. Hey, look at me. I'm all wet. I'm good now.
I was surprised. I was expecting this season to be kind of like a longer journey of him, finding his way back to Mandalore, kind of figuring out what his next steps are. Nope, 2 episodes in, he's nearly drowning in the Mines of Mandalore.
Yeah, Oti, I mentioned last week that it was a little weird for me the way they cut up the episode. Like they're in this Mandalorian planet, then he goes to Navarro, then visits. He says that he needs a part for the droid, but instead of going to Peli, he goes to Kalevala. And I'm like, I don't know, this is kind of weird. But we saw this episode on Tatooine, as I expected, looking for Peli. There's fireworks going. There's a street race going on with the Bunta Eve week.
The Bunta Eve.
I think a lot of us were screaming when we heard them say for Bunta Eve week. There was a lot of screaming.
Yeah. Is that something for you guys? Because some people, when they say a little Easter egg here, go nuts. But I'm sure that people work there know a lot of more Easter eggs. So you guys just go nuts every time something like that shows up.
Oh yeah. Whenever we get any kind of deep dive mentions, we all just absolutely freak out. There's something that they had a lot of fun with Obi-Wan Kenobi. That one scene where Obi-Wan was looking at the wall where Jedi had carved in their names.
Sure.
And once people started translating those, it's like, Pablo Hidalgo, we know you were involved in this because these are some deep cut names here.
Yeah.
That was a treat. Alberto, you know me. I'm all about the themes, the lore, but I'm terrible at trivia, so I had no idea Bunta Eve was a holiday.
Mm-hmm.
So when they mentioned, I knew like, oh, Bunta Eve. I was like, so I was excited, but then saying, like, oh wait, it's a whole festivity. That, I don't know, that really got me excited.
Yeah, I didn't know it was a whole thing either. It's like bike week. They're down in Daytona just doing everything. But then we get Peli, which I love.
We were that close to getting Ben Quadraneros.
Close. Next week.
If Ben Quadraneros, I'm saying this out, if Ben Quadraneros shows up in anything, you won't see me in the next Raider Rebellion episode because I will die. I will literally just like die.
Yeah. I'll put all his contact information down in the link just in case we need to call him to make sure he's alive.
Or I'll just jump in the stream and start screaming. Like I wouldn't know how to handle it.
Yeah. I mean, we went to Tatooine. We saw Peli. I thought we were going to see her husband there, her boyfriend, but we didn't get to see the Mayordomo. Hopefully he'll show up.
By the way, Peli's reaction, like, "Oh, why are you here? Are the Hutts back? Are you here to kill Boba Fett?"
Yeah, they're friends.
I died laughing at that. She's just like, right to you. Oh, you're gonna kill Boba Fett.
Yeah. Did you enjoy this scene? It was. Some people find it kind of clunky. I know Peli's not everyone's favorite. Taking advantage of the poor.
Rodian.
I love. Yeah, I love his voice. I love that voice of him, Bo-Katan's droid, but that Rodian, and then just cursing at her, me? Like, go screw yourself. But I love it. And then, of course, the Jawas just stole the parts.
I
love it. It's just like, this is classic Peli Moto. Just I'll have it fixed for you in a bit. All right, bring the parts back.
I've mentioned it a billion times, but I hated Peli when she first showed up.
Yeah.
And every time she comes back, I love her even more. And the sillier it gets, the more I like it.
All right, there's some thoughts on that chat about Peli.
Yes. By the way, Mo's here. Hi, Mo. Hi, Prima.
Hey.
Hello, Mo.
Yes, there's a lot of love for Peli going on. I think Peli is a hit and quit it. Hit it and quit it kind of type.
Come on.
Probably. This is a family show, Buck.
I really want them to bring back the Major Domo again, though.
Yeah, I mean, I love every single scene that he was on. It's just the type of dumb Star Wars that I love.
Were you guys expecting Boba Fett to show up when we went to Tatooine?
Oh
I
yeah.
was hoping. I was hoping.
I really didn't even, it didn't even cross my mind.
I thought
honestly,
there was
you know
going to be a
what?
whole Tatooine episode.
I would have died if like don't even bring him in the episode. Just have him like 3 blocks down the road. You just see Boba Fett walk by with Chrysanthemum next to him
With a hot dog.
And don't even acknowledge it. Yeah, just him carrying some food down the street. Just don't even acknowledge it.
I'm sure someone's going to go enhance, and he's going to be there just looking at the race. Yeah, I hope they go back to Tatooine. There's a lot of we stand Queen Peli mode, of course. We all love Peli. And of course, if you didn't watch Book of Boba Fett, you don't know how Peli lost her tooth.
Imagine. Oh my god.
Oh, Favreau. All right, but basically, she doesn't have the parts for the IG units, and then just spawns off R5. Oh, he's battle tested. He's ready for intergalactic adventures.
He's good.
You're a fan of R5, right, Oti?
Was that?
You're a fan of R5?
I mean, I'm a big fan of his from a certain point of view story. I can't remember the name of that story, but he's the droid that saved the galaxy, and yeah, I love him.
Yeah, didn't read it, but whatever. I mean, it was a fine scene. It's cool.
Then you don't know what he did, Alberto, but he saved the galaxy.
I read it somewhere, probably Wookieepedia. He's the one that pushed R2. It's your turn. You have it, something like that.
Basically, yes.
Yeah, so it's okay.
It's a good droid.
Yeah, well, he was a bit scared. He's shaking in his boots.
He reminded me of my dog, honestly.
And I love when they get to Mandalore and Din Djarin's like, this is a job for a dog, and just drops him. It's like, you don't have a choice. Just drops him.
Just straight up. All right, go on, droid.
All right. So anyway, they go to Mandalore. Din Djarin's there. He's telling, before he gets there, oh, Buck's gotta go. Thanks for joining, Buck.
Take care, Buck.
Yeah, always a good one. Good luck with everything that he's going through. Yeah. So yeah, he's telling Grogu, basically, you're a Mandalorian. You gotta learn all these things. That's the planet where I grew up in. This is where Bo-Katan we just visited. It's all in the same system, so people can complain that it's gonna take too long to go find her. But then sends R5 to go check if the atmosphere is okay to breathe. We have that big action scene at the beginning. Again, Oti, we talked a little bit about how surprised we were that they were already on Mandalore, made it all the way to the mines. You enjoyed this scene? Were you able to watch it? Because it was too dark for people out there.
Yeah, I really didn't get that that criticism. It looked fine for me. So
I thought it was fine. Yeah. I loved how we got the scene, like you said, of him just pointing out, this is how this works. This is where I'm from. And it's just like, it's the Dadalorian.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll say about if it was too dark or not. When I watched it, which was like 9 in.m, I had a little trouble in a few scenes. It wasn't pitch black, but it's because I have 2 windows right next to a TV, so light was hitting it. So I'm sure, okay, it's not gonna be perfect. But this is my 65-inch 4K TV that I got about 3 years ago. Then that same night, I'm in my bedroom with a 2009 like 32-inch TV, 1080p or something. It looked perfect. It looked better than anything. I'm like, okay, I gotta either fix my settings or close all the blinds to make sure light doesn't come in. So
you probably close the blinds.
Yeah, if I go watch it now, it'll probably be fine. Very cool scene. He rescues R5. He fights these Alamites out there that we kind of learn, again, a new species to start writing articles about.
We had never met the Alamites before, right?
No, we have not.
Anyway,
we have not yet. That was first appearance.
That springs some very interesting questions. Like, where were they? Were they like out there in caves or something, or were they below Mandalore?
Bo-Katan says when she's back with Grogu and she fights the first one, she tells him, oh, these are Alamites. They're used to live like outside the city or whatever. And that's what she says. If they survive, what else could have survived? Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Something might show up at the end of the episode. But we got to the Mines of the Mines of Mandalore. We see them all there. Then they drop down. And we'll just get to it. He gets attacked by this weird crab droid. He's not the best at knowing where traps are, or he's not hunter that cannot track. You enjoy the scene, Oti, with this weird crab droid that then turned to this insect droid with one eye and then just a head at the end.
I did. It was so weird. It was like prequel looking, like something out of Geonosis or something, but it made those original trilogy sounds. I really enjoyed that, whatever that was.
I don't know what it is yet, but I need an entire book about it. I need to know more about what the heck is this thing.
Yeah, to me, I don't know. All the sounds it was making reminded me of the Geonosians. And I'm thinking this is a Geonosian droid that just got some parts to be able to live. It's pumping blood out of Din Djarin. He needed some orange lighters at the end of this episode. He lost blood, almost drowned. You need to get back into it.
He's having a rough day.
A little.
I think my favorite thing to come out of that scene was, I believe it was the audio descriptions in the episode, called that cage that he was in Din's rotisserie cage.
Oh, wow. I messed up.
And this is now my favorite name ever that we found in an audio description.
The subtitles are sometimes so quirky in Mandalorian.
Yes, it was sounds are it's squishing floor walking or something. But I love, and this is, I'll say, something that I love about Grogu on this episode and something that I didn't enjoy. Oti, I've said here that I wanted Grogu this season, if he was going to come back, to not be reliant on Mando to be able to move around, have to be carried everywhere. And here we saw him using the Force, first to have fun, to jump and do a couple of flips to go to Peli, to Aunt Peli. We saw him using the Force to try to open the Din Djarin rotisserie. He couldn't do it, but he tried. Then he used Force pushes this Alamite out of the way and then learn how to fly the ship, or at least tell R5, take me here. So a lot of the things that I wanted from Grogu this season are happening. I'm really happy that's happening. By the end of it, I was kind of over all the Goo Gaga. I know they're kind of pushing it that he's going to say his first words soon. But all that babbling and stuff, I'm like, dude, I know you're a baby, but you're like 55 at this time.
I'll be that person. I don't think we're gonna see him say or hear him say his first words. So, dude, he's cute. I don't care. And this is a very cute Baby Yoda episode. So, and by the way,
watch the one word he'll say. He'll just be like, "Dad," and then just never say another word ever.
Yeah.
That would actually be perfect. So that's when that scene happened, Alberto, where he goes to the ship and goes to Peli. I was like, this episode was made for Alberto because he's independent now. Like,
yeah, you meant to Bo-Katan, but yeah, I understand.
I love how Bo-Katan, how she's at first like, no, I'm not gonna help you. I'm not gonna do it. As soon as Grogu comes back, she's like, where is he?
Yeah, twice. And then
my boyfriend?
When he's like, "Oh, I'm not going on with you on your ship. I gotta go to the mines. You're crazy. I'll take you because you won't make it." And make up your mind. What's going on here?
Like, and she offers him to stay with her. And it's like 1 hour ago, you were like, "I'm telling this guy off."
I mean, for someone that I guess just lives in that armor. Because she's, for 2 episodes, she's just been sitting on that chair, blasters at the ready. There's no one on that planet, but she's ready to kick butt at any point.
And he's like, unannounced visitor. And she's like, unannounced visitor? And like, did you even get announced visitors? Like,
yeah. But I love that droid. Just kind of walking very slowly. Oh, Lady Bo, or whatever he said. So let's talk about Bo-Katan. We're getting a lot more with her. So she's not just a fan service, like some people might have said with season 2. I love that we saw her shield that we used to see in the Clone Wars and in Rebels. I love that we saw that fighting with the Darksaber. We saw that difference with Din Djarin still after 2 years can't pick it up, and she's just wielding that thing like nothing. And the way she killed all the Alamites, and then that droid, Supreme Emperor. Are you happy that Bo-Katan is a player this season? Looks like she's going to be very involved in this whole season going forward.
I'm very happy about that. She's a wonderful actress. She's a wonderful person. And it's just going to be great to explore more of that and kind of see where it leads. I'm wanting to see kind of how they're going to tie this into future projects like Ahsoka,
Mhm.
because obviously we have to get Bo-Katan and Ahsoka meeting at some point. So how are we gonna? What's going to be those little kind of tie-in points that we don't notice until after the fact?
Mhm. Maybe that's one of those announced visitors that she gets. It's Ahsoka.
The Ghost
Um,
Crew was here like 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, they just left.
You just
Oti,
missed Ezra.
Ezra was just here.
He was
You
just
didn't
here. He just went out to Buffalo Wild Wing.
you didn't see the Purgles as you were coming in. The Purgles just left. It's a little slime back there.
It's gonna be the meme of you're looking out the window and you see someone in the other car looking at you. Look over and just see Ezra on the Purgo looking back at you.
Yeah. Oti, you're a fan of Bo-Katan. Do you enjoy how much we're getting with her?
Even before we got Star Wars shows announced, I always wanted to see Katie Sackhoff come to live action and do Bo-Katan. So every second with her, for me, it's a treat. And I kind of think they're building her up to be like a co-protagonist in this season. We mentioned it in the last episode, and this episode, like, she comes back, she's active in the plot and doing things, and we've seen pictures and trailers, and we know there's still more with her. So I'm very excited for what the future of Bo-Katan holds. She's such a great character.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm going to call it right now. By the end of the season, they're going to find some way to transfer ownership of the Darksaber to her, because she just kicks ass with it. She has to have it.
Yeah, and I think that's what everyone wants. And I don't see them fighting for it anymore. So it's going to be interesting to see how they...
What if they do like a ceremonial fight? Like what she mentioned that she did the whole baptism in the mines, for the subjects. What if they do that? Like, oh, I'm gonna fight you. Oh, you won.
You win.
Oh no.
I'm kind of thinking that my personal prediction is that, and take this with a grain of salt if I'm wrong, please everyone don't come at me. My guess is this season's going to be as much about kind of her coming to terms with everything and kind of moving past her beliefs.
Yep.
It's going to be as much about her doing that as it is Din coming to terms with his beliefs. And they're going to kind of find this convergence point where she kind of comes to terms with that she needs to have it. He comes to terms that he was in a cult brainwashing him for years. And then everyone lives happily ever after.
I don't know about the last part. Everything else.
But we talked about that same thing, Alberto. Like, here she is mocking Djarin a couple of episodes ago because he believes in this cult. And she's depressed because she didn't get the magic sword that makes her rule the planet.
Yeah, just whirled it around. And one of the few smart things that Djarin has ever said, didn't you just make up your mind? Is it a fairy tale or is it no? Because it can be one or the other. But let's just jump into that part. When she's walking with Grogu, and then when she meets with Djarin, it's a lot of this backstory and history of the Mandalorians, the importance, like you said, about the baptism and the people being there so they can see the royals kind of coming into themselves. And when she tells Djarin, then we give you the full tour, it talks about the mythosaur and how everyone got together around it. She hates seeing different Mandalorian tribes fighting. We need to get together. And then, of course, Djarin misses the step. It's all the way to the bottom. I don't know why he sinks so fast, but whatever.
Beskar heavy.
Beskar.
I guess so. Yeah, because Bo-Katan's armor, I guess, is not Beskar. She's smart enough to keep her jetpack on.
I think it's Beskar, but she has a jetpack, so...
Yeah.
The one thing from that scene that I think is like just a huge testament to how good of an actress Katie Sackhoff is how, as she's giving him the tour, you see the expression on her face change. Like the moment when Bo-Katan starts to recapture that mythology of her youth again. She kind of starts to feel that connection again. And you can the way that she kind of portrays that, just even through just facial emotion, it's just amazing.
I want to talk about that scene because for me that was one of the best scenes in this whole series so far. How I think it even started to transcend. I just made that joke about the magic sword, but I think she's also very upset because Mandalore fell under her watch. She was the one that was ruling at that moment, and we can get into the whole thing of how the Darksaber lineage works or anything, but it was under her watch that this happened. And I think that failure of recapturing the Darksaber, just like, I failed and I couldn't even make it better. So
would you would you call this happening under her watch a death watch? Come on, that's it.
and not only that, she speaks about the whole she talks about the I'm tired of thinking about our people fighting each other instead of, and she was also a part of that. She was a part of that. When we meet her, she's killing a whole village. So I think this episode did a lot to like deepen that character. And then that moment when Din gets in the water, I think she like kind of respects him for his beliefs. That moment when she talks about her father and he goes like, "This is the way." For me, that's kind of that moment when a religious person tells you, "Oh, God bless you." You may be an atheist, but what they're really, they're showing respect. They're showing some in their way. So for me, that moment was very powerful because of that.
I feel like they're setting up the character, like her character, to be maybe even almost kind of envious that despite everything, he's managed to hold on to kind of his core beliefs, something that kind of she's been very clearly struggling with.
Yeah. A bit surprised that after a 10-minute conversation, he's ready to meet the family, but I guess when you're finished with Bo-Katan, you want to log that quick.
I really wanted, as she was talking to her family, I was just waiting for my sister Satine.
Yeah.
I was waiting for that. And I'm just like, come on.
That was the only thing missing. But also, these scenes also changed a little bit my perspective of Children of the Watch. I kind of, at first I saw them as this, I still see them as a weird cult, but for me, they're like this kind of very real world thing when something bad happens in the world and we get these very religious people like, oh, this happened because we drifted from God and we drifted from the old ways. We should go back to where we were. And, in that way you take advantage of maybe people who are looking for hope in something. So that, I really love these episodes because of these little moments and, just looks and random words being said.
Sometimes the force just needs to be free. Path of the open heart. I hate them so much.
Gift freely given.
Gift freely given. That was the mythos. So at the end, just a gift freely given to Bo-Katan. And you mentioned a little bit earlier that the way the story seems to be playing out is that she's gonna come to that realization that she might need to come back to the history and the legends of Mandalore, while Din Djarin moves a little bit away from it and maybe meet in the middle.
Did Din fell or was he pulled? I think he tripped.
I just love the idea that he's just in the middle of this, wasn't paying attention, he just tripped right into it. It's very in character for the guy who asked Luke Skywalker if he was a Jedi.
It's like you've been to the beach and then all of a sudden that sandbank kind of drops and you missed that. That's the way it felt.
Yeah, and when they do that shot of Bo going down there, you can clearly see there's some steps, and all of a sudden, I think it was because of the bombs like that just broke down.
Yeah. I like the idea. I like kind of the headcanon idea that I have that he's just looking around, just enjoying this cavern. Then whoa,
it's just like that. You gotta love him, but like you say, he misses the obvious. So we love the guy. Right, so Oti, before we started the show, we were talking backstage a little bit. Where are they heading with the season now? Because we thought, or some people thought that Bo-Katan might be the villain for the season. For good or bad, some people thought that. Is it going to be the Armorer? But that play, I think that's coming next week. Once they leave Mandalore, they might go and find the rest of the Mandalorians and have that conversation. The Pirates and Pirate King Gorian Shard, we believe he's coming back soon or later in the season, and we still have Moff Gideon out there somewhere. Do we have time to deal with all these kind of villains out there? The way that the season seems to be moving at a pretty steady pace right now.
Yeah, I think we have time. There's still like 7 episodes left, so I mean, I'm pretty sure 6. It's 8. Yeah,
it's 8.
Sorry. Yeah. So
if they keep up this pace, given how much we got just out of the first 2 episodes, I think there's probably time.
Yeah. So I was telling Alberto, like, I think it would be very interesting. What if I'm contradicting myself because I think of Moff Gideon as someone who thinks they're more important than they really are.
Mm-hmm.
But what if like the Empire attacks Coruscant or something, and like to get him out, and now we have a big bad all of a sudden?
I would love that.
Yeah, because we know one of the trailers showed Coruscant. Dr. Pershing is in Coruscant looking at some Star Destroyers. I don't know if they're getting repurposed or broken down. So the Empire, or whatever you want to call them at this point, it's there in Coruscant.
I mean, we know they're going to return in like 30 years. But
the pre-First Order.
The pre-First Order. So, and what was I going to mention? Oh, and we also get in the trailers those moments with Carson Tell being like, guys, there's something out there. Like, so I don't know.
I'm so excited that we're getting Paulson Hindley back again. I'm so excited to see him come back.
Yeah.
If they ever do a Rogue Squadron series or a movie, they need to have him in it.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting. Like we've been saying, where the story's going, a big arc of it, I think it's already there, which is this Din Djarin going and getting bathed in the Mines of Mandalore in the living water. So that seems to have happened already. So my guess is next week, him and Bo-Katan go back to this planet where the Armorer is. They have their big conversation. Very interested and very looking forward to what that scene, the Armorer, Bo-Katan, they're dealing views and Din Djarin in the middle. I'm very excited for that. There's some, I don't want to call them fan theories, or I guess they're fan theories, or people saying that the Armorer might be related to Bo-Katan, maybe as a third sister of the Chris family. Do you put any weight into this, or just fan speculation?
That is, I like that.
Maybe she's like
I like that.
Maybe she's like on Armorer. How are you?
Yeah,
I like that idea.
That'd be very cool.
Yeah. They were also saying that's her name that was with and I have her Funko back there that had the Mandalorian helmet with the horns and the
I'm drawing a blank on the name, but I know who you're referring to.
Oh,
Cast or something.
I'll get it by the end of this.
Yeah, part of the Darth Maul, Darth Maul group at the end of season 7.
So Gar Saxon.
George Saxon. So
I hated him so much.
The purple hair lady that was with him that had also the horns on her helmet. What if it's her? All right, so we'll see. I don't think we have too much to wait, but I don't see the Armorer taking her helmet off unless it's beaten out of her. All right, so enough with the Mandalorian talk. We could keep talking about it, but let's jump to another part of Star Wars on TV, and it was the Bad Batch with The Outpost.
Great episode.
We've gotten 2 great episodes from the Bad Batch this past week. Oti, I'll keep saying it. I've been up and down with this series and this show in general, even though I am enjoying it. And before I give you, not concerns, but some of my thoughts on it, what were your thoughts on this episode, The Bad Batch, as you watched it earlier today?
I think it was great, honestly. I think every Crosshair episode is gonna be good, and it's funny because I hated him when we met him. He was my least favorite. So again, and we're seeing him. Are we seeing him grow? Like, I'm not sure where he's gonna go, but I mean, this was a tough episode for him. He's been so like confident, like, no, good soldiers follow orders. We follow the Empire, and now the rug is pulled from down under him, and I don't know.
Yeah, so my thing with him, and I love Crosshair. He's my favorite of the whole Bad Batch. This is the second time we've seen him this season. We saw him in episode 3 and now episode 12. Yeah. And like you said, he's been very straightforward I don't care that we're doing something wrong, that we're the bad guys. Are we the baddies, like the meme says? He doesn't care. He told Rex, he was there not with Rex, with Cody. Peace out, Cody. And he killed someone in cold blood in front of Cody just because the other Imperial told him so. Someone that had given up, killed him in cold blood, no questions asked. And then all of a sudden, he starts kind of double thinking everything. And now kills this Imperial lieutenant just because he didn't provide assistance to this new clone that he just met. So to me, it was kind of weird that he changed so quickly because we hadn't seen Crosshair in like 7 weeks. So it was weird that he went this route. I do understand why, but it felt a little bit out of character for me from the last time we saw him. So that's my only complaint about this episode.
What about you, Supreme Emperor? What did you think about the episode?
I think it was absolutely fantastic. I screamed a lot during the episode, especially the moment when Crosshair finally kind of hit that moment of just shot him. I literally just screamed out, "Finally!"
Yeah, it was. I was watching it with my daughter, so I always say this is a show that I watch with her. Crosshair was mad. What did Mo say? I couldn't get it.
Finish, because what I'm gonna say ties to that.
Okay. So my daughter, I was saying I watched this show with her. Same thing. She's like, shoot him, shoot him, shoot him, shoot him, shoot him. And as soon as I see this, she's like, yes. So I think we all scream at that point, like, yes, kill that freaking Lieutenant douchebag, whatever his name was. Just freaking get him out of here. I'm glad that he's dead, that we don't need to deal with him.
Yeah. So what Mo mentions that Crosshair was mad because they messed with his brothers, and I kind of agree with that. Even though they messed with his previous brothers, but they also kind of messed with him. But we literally see them go through hell, and that moment when they come back, they're like, they barely made it.
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing he hears is like, "You didn't get the mission done."
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, really?
This guy needs medical attention.
Yeah, and I think that for him, because I don't think he's been properly treated as the Empire can properly treat someone.
Mm-hmm.
But this was the episode where, like, I went through all this and all I get is like, where are my boxes? Like, no, I'm sorry, no, you don't get to get away with that.
Yeah,
especially for literally just a couple crates of some armor pieces. That's the value the Empire places on your life is some armor pieces.
Yeah. And where I kind of turn on what I just said is that part, because these are more for the next class, right? For the Stormtroopers. It's like the Clone Wars era and the clones is over. Not even thank you for your service. Like at the beginning, it's, I'm a soldier. What am I gonna do now? I don't care. Just get out of here. Yeah. So in that sense, I understand where he sees like he's the last of this batch of the clones or this type of soldiers out there. So I do understand that part. And I agree with his reasoning behind it. It just felt shocking because of everything that he has done before, kind of not out of nowhere, because we see him the whole episode with Mayday, this new clone.
Yeah.
And we see even from Mayday saying, all my other clone brothers that were here, they've all been dead. They've all been killed. We're guarding something. We don't know what it is, what even it's inside these crates. And then they're just sent out to go find the crates. The other 2 people that were there, the other 2 clones are also killed. The lieutenant doesn't give him any more soldiers to go and deal with I want to call them insurgents or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, something that starts kind of building up. And even at the beginning of the episode, Crosshair was already at a cross point, you can say a little bit. So I'll walk back a little bit, my comments on it.
No, Alberto, you were wrong.
Yeah, and like
I'm not wrong.
Throughout the last kind of couple episodes where he's been, you've kind of seen him having this internal struggle of wondering, was he wrong? Should he have gone with his brothers? And you can see kind of that exact moment when all of that catches up with him and he realizes following orders isn't going to save you. Following orders isn't going to mean the Empire is going to care about you. That just means they're just going to see you as expendable. And he's kind of hit that realization. So I'm wondering now, is he going to maybe go searching for his family again?
Yeah. So let's end it with this. Are we seeing Crosshair's redemption at this point? Do you think that by the end of this season, he'll be back with the Bad Batch, redemption by death? Are we seeing him kind of growing to this or going back to his roots, quote unquote, with the Bad Batch? I know a lot of times, even in season 1, people are saying maybe he's the first of the Death Troopers. If we're just gonna continue down this road, where do you see this ending, Oti?
I think we are. And if you had asked me last week, I would have said like, no, there's no way.
Yeah.
But I really think we are. I think maybe those last episodes will be maybe a rescue mission. Maybe they find out where he is. And I don't know, like
Yeah, something about that title, that Clone for what was it, Plan 99 or something like that.
99.
It's like it's got to be. It has to be that.
Yeah. So I'm actually not even excited for that. I didn't want him to get redeemed, but here we are. And again, that's part of the thing of Star Wars. No one, unless you're Palpatine, no one's irredeemable. So
episode 10, when it gets announced in Celebration, and Palpatine is good now.
Long have I waited for redemption.
I am not being.
We're gonna end this season of the Bad Batch with somehow Palpatine has returned.
Yeah, as a good guy now. I've always been on the keep Crosshair bad bandwagon. I'm still on it because I don't need everyone to be redeemed, and I want to see that confrontation. Like, we gotta let me finish before you tell me why Star Wars is something different than what I'm saying. Dude, you know what? I haven't done this in a while. I'm done with you. Okay. So as I was saying, I don't want Crosshair redeemed.
You've been banished.
Yeah, Oti knows.
Look what you did. They're making out.
I can't even follow that. So I'm just gonna finish with this, which is with what I started. I use my daughter as a barometer for this show. When I kind of feel down with it, it's not clicking. I say, okay, it's not for me. It's for her generation. The younger kids are getting to Star Wars. She really enjoys this show. She didn't like this episode. At the end, she was like, "This was a boring episode. Nothing happened." I know for people like us that's looking to the deeper meanings, a lot of things happen. But maybe for kids, not a lot happen because they're not thinking it. And again, it's different for everyone. Some kids might get all the deep meaning behind it. She didn't get all the things that were happening in terms of the clones kind of being eliminated at that point. So my thought is, and I probably am making too much of this, who's the target audience for this show? Is it all Star Wars fans that grew up with the original trilogy? Is it for the younger kids that want to get into Star Wars? But I guess it's more for the people that grew up with the Clone Wars or following these type of stories. So I don't know, because sometimes some of the episodes are what people call filler, which I don't think they are, but they don't hit with a lot of people like all these other later episodes are going to hit with fans that might already jump ship because they didn't enjoy the first half of the season. So to me, it's kind of, I don't know, it's weird the balance that they strike sometimes with this show.
I think that's the beauty of, like, quite honestly, everything that they're doing right now is, it doesn't matter if you grew up with Star Wars. It doesn't matter if you're a new fan. There's just something that everyone can enjoy. You can pick it up without having to know all of the lore behind it. But if you do know the lore behind it, then here's a couple more mentions for you.
You know what, Alberto? I'm gonna disagree with you. Because
not surprised.
Even think about a show like Mandalorian. That show's straight up made for us. Mm-hmm. And there are episodes I'm like, you know, the gunslinger. Okay, cool. That was fun, I guess. And not everything is gonna hit. So I honestly think the Bad Batch is mainly aimed at younger people. Still, I don't think it's directly aimed at, you know, the generation that watched the Clone Wars. They're aimed at people that were that age when Clone Wars came out. So, and even in cartoons, even we talk about a lot about Dragon Ball Z. There were boring episodes in there. Like,
there's a lot of boring. Yeah. I think I'll hopefully won't talk more about this every week, but I think it's for, like you said, people that grew up with the Mandalorians, with the Clone Wars, that were that 10 to 14 years old when the Clone Wars came out, are now older fans, can relate to these type of stories, having been both ways, kind of, this is a silly racing episode, which I love, but we also get these deeper meaning ones. I know you didn't like that, and that's where we disagree sometimes.
I'm still mentally struggling with the fact that the Clone Wars came out like 15 years ago. I still haven't mentally comprehended that. I'm kind of trying to pretend that it was like 2 years ago.
we before we started, you said 15-year anniversary of the panel.
Yeah, in celebration, it's a 15-year anniversary panel.
I was
when I read that, I had like a mini existential crisis. Like, wait. But 2007, that wasn't that long ago.
And that's when you say, like, it's aimed at that generation. I'm not sure, dude, because I'm 30 and, like, I don't think that show's aimed straight at me. Like, there are episodes that are like this one, yeah, but that racing episode, I don't know, that was like straight up ain't for me.
Again, like you all have said,
Maybe it has an identity crisis.
And I think so.
But
all
I
right,
like it.
Just give me more Crosshair. All the Crosshair episodes have been my favorite, so we just need more Crosshair.
We're at the point now where Crosshair is at a crossroads.
There we go. And with that, we end our talk on the Bad Batch and Star Wars. Supreme Emperor from Wookieepedia, I want to say before we end, are you watching The Last of Us? Because we do a segment here where we talk about something else that's not Star Wars, and we've been covering The Last of Us. Have you been watching the show?
I haven't yet. I've had it since it aired. I've had it on my, not only my list of to watch, but my list of to finally play, because I think I got like a third of the way through the game back in the day. There's just not enough time in the day.
Yes. All right, Oti, so let's do a quick kind of non-spoiler, if we can, coverage of last week's episode in a segment that we like to call A World Between Fandoms.
I love that kind of retro NES theme you got going on there.
Yeah, I had to find something so they wouldn't hit me with that copyright, so I got the 8-bit one. Oti, so real quick, non-spoilers. Second to last episode, The Last of Us. Tomorrow's the finale. Love this episode. I always start by asking you, as a fan of the game, someone has played the game multiple times, how close is it? How close is it to the actual game? Does it live up to the hype? A very difficult episode to watch, but what were your initial thoughts?
So as you mentioned, I'm a huge fan of the game, and as a huge fan of the game, I just want to say that I watched Scream 6 on Thursday, and it was awesome. That said, it was pretty close. I think it's the closest it's been to the game. The changes I think they made, I think, were very practical. Some of the things that Joel does in the game, he wouldn't make much sense if he did them here.
Sure.
But they captured the essence of what this part was. And some of those memorable moments, the whole show me where we are and it better be the same thing. I mentioned that was going to come back, and it was awesome. We get to see both Ellie and Joel's, dark side. Like I mentioned it last week. Like, remember that rage when she's bitten? Like, and as you mentioned, it was a hard watch. I usually hate I don't hate that they portray it, but it's very sensitive to me when they portray rape or references to rape. So when I knew that was coming, and I was like, I don't know. And but knowing what was gonna happen, I was like, okay, let's just wait a little bit. And it was done in a very subtle way that some people might not caught it at the first glance. I love when you talked about Ellie's rage. I'm so glad this didn't happen in the first or second or even the third episode, because we will be, how can this 14-year-old girl do all this stuff that she just did and defend herself against these people? But by this time in the season, it's like, of course she's going to be able to do this. I want some of that magic penicillin that you just get 2 and you're ready to go. In the game, he gets 1 and wakes up 5 minutes later.
I need some magic medicine. But I also love seeing Joel go berserk, I guess, at that point. I gotta go save my little girl, my baby girl. But once some of the other things that happen on the episode, when you realize what they're doing in that village, it's like, oh man, venison. Not really.
They did a good job fleshing that out, because in the game, you just meet them as a crazy cannibals. And also they have this huge army, which I mentioned was not really practical for what was going on. And Joel has to fight this huge army, and again, with just 1 shot of penicillin. So again, the changes made sense. But I loved how they portrayed David. Great villain, great villain. So
because you don't know those first 20 minutes, you're like, where is he gonna fall? Is he telling the truth? Can he really? He has this community, everyone's behind him. But at the same time, it's too religious for me. The way he was talking, people were worshiping him. It's like, I don't know.
He's also kind of a grifter, because he doesn't really believe it. He's just using it.
He says it.
It was a again, it was a phenomenal. This was one of the moments I was most. I told you this is my favorite part of the story, and this is why, because I love this section. And again, we get to see how Ellie would, thrive without Joel, and she's pretty capable, and she's smart. She's learned well from him.
She's learned well. It's funny the way things kind of match up with this episode in Mandalorian when Djarin needs Grogu to help him, and then in this episode of The Last of Us, Joel needs Ellie to help him. It's like, did they plan this? It has to be planned. It just matches up too well. Oti, the first time we talked about Last of Us, you said that this is it. They were able to do it. Just watching the first episode, they were able to catch up with the essence of the show. One episode left. I know you won't be able to be here next week to talk about the finale. Are you still
100%? 100%. They've nailed it. Like every single episode, they freaking nailed it. Even with the changes, it's still so true to the spirit of what that story is. And brace yourselves. Next week is gonna be.
Okay.
Not tomorrow. It's gonna
tomorrow. Yeah, I love that. I think every episode, nothing has been a cliffhanger. Similar to Mandalorian, episode starts and has an ending. I love that, so I don't have to be suffering for 1 week. But very interesting to say.
Moses upset that I'm not gonna be here. It's my engagement party, so I can't be at a place at a time. So. He's
leaving us for his engagement party, which I won't say anything because last time I was making fun of you for not being here for a show. You were getting engaged. Yeah. So again, congratulations. It's funny. I was somewhere yesterday with my kids. They had a field trip from school, and in the background, there was an engagement. So.
Oh, that's awkward.
Yeah. It was far away. We just heard people clapping and turn around, and they were hugging. Oh, someone just proposed. So that's fine.
Again, the finale, I'm very excited for it. I've seen people complain about the length. I think it's a perfect length. I don't think it needs to be a 2-hour finale at all. So cliffhangers, brace for an emotional cliffhanger. I'll just
that's fine. I mean, I guess the end of the season, there's probably going to be a cliffhanger knowing that season 2 is coming, with there being at least two games. As someone has never played the game and didn't know anything about the story, I don't feel like I'm missing anything by not playing the game. So I'm very happy with this show so far. All right, and with that, we bring an end to our show. As we start to say goodbye, thank you, Mo, for being here. Thanks to Brennan, as always. Thanks to Buck for taking the time to join us today. Everyone else that was there watching the show live, even if you didn't get a chance to jump in the chat, thank you for supporting us. And of course, Wookieepedia. It's great having you. As always, we'll try to do this again. Thanks for being here. What are you guys working on? Where can people find you? I'm sure they know, but it's YouTube, so we have to plug something.
All right. Well, thank you for having us on, guys. It's been a pleasure meeting you. For anyone who doesn't know Wookieepedia, you can find us at starwars.fandom.com. You can find us on Twitter at Wookofficial. That's the one where we're primarily most active. Feel free to shoot us a DM on there, and I'll say hi. You can find us on Instagram at Wookieepedia, and you can find us on YouTube also at Wookieepedia.
All right, and I'll have some of those down there in the description of the video. But like you said, people know. If people don't know Wookieepedia at this point, are there even Star Wars fans? We won't go into that. But Oti, since you won't be here next week, where can people find you? All your reviews, everything else that you do here on Radio Rebellion and away from Radio Rebellion.
I host Spanish-speaking podcasts over at EPS Star Wars. Follow me there. You'll find everything. Twitter and Instagram. You know the drill.
All right. So again, thanks to everyone for joining us today. Thank you, Oti. Thank you, Wookieepedia. And we'll be back next week. Even if Oti's not here, it might be back to basics. Just me. Maybe we'll get a guest host. I don't know. Tune in to find out. So stay safe. Be safe. And may the force be with you.